Alright guys, as we end the final UFC event of the year, I closed my UFC Tampa fight companion to come make this breakdown for you guys. Here's a couple of fun moments that came from that, like, let's say, the Swanson KO. Oh my god, he put it back up! Let's fucking go! Wow! It doesn't get much better than that! Manel Kape taunting the shit out of Billy Quarantillo. I've never seen someone taunt like this in a fight. This is mental. The crowd is going crazy right now. Vitor Petrino getting put out cold by Dustin Jacoby. Whoa, it apparently landed the elbow! Oh my god, Jacoby just put him out cold! What the actual fuck? And there's plenty more to come. So let me get straight into it, and we're going to start breaking down from the main event, making our way all the way down to the prelims, minus maybe like 3 fights from the bottom that I'll pretty quickly graze over. We're going to go pretty detailed with some of this stuff. I've got my notes here. Just watched the whole event about 30-60 minutes ago. If you're looking for a particular fight, just look below. Should be able to find the chapters along the timeline of the video to be able to find whichever fight you are trying to hear my breakdown for. So let's get straight into it. So, beginning with the final fight of the night, we had Colby versus Buckley. Now, while a lot of the fans are going to be quite upset with the stoppage for this one, sorry, let me get my microphone a bit closer. While a lot of the fans are going to be upset with the stoppage for this one, it's going to be something that I don't think the fans are going to be really giving the proper amount of respect to when it comes to that complaint. A lot of people are going to be like, whoa, look, listen, it's unfortunate that Colby was actually having his second wind. Colby manages to get control and actually get on top of Buckley. Buckley's takedown defense was great throughout the entire fight. He showed so much power. Like, he was hitting Colby pretty hard. He was swinging at Colby pretty hard. Luckily, none of the big ones actually clipped Colby. He was doing pretty decent to get out of the way of some of them. But Joaquin was ripping the body. That first round was pretty much just Colby running. To be honest, like, he didn't look like dog shit. This is a very improved Colby from the Leon Edwards fight. Granted, it's probably because he had a broken foot, so that's probably why. But he wasn't just running the entire time, but he was way less engaging, and he spent the first round pretty much on the defense to Joaquin Buckley. But in that third round, he actually had his moment, bro, and he kind of came back. But listen, that cut on his eye was huge, and I would have previously also, I did when I reacted to it, I was like, oh really, Dr. Stoppage? Okay, well, I guess, Colby's face is covered in blood. But then the doctor said his eyelid he might lose his eyelid if he keeps fighting. So unfortunately, that might be an unavoidable Dr. Stoppage. If the guy's got an injury to his eye like that, and the cut was literally on his eyelid the whole way across. So, like, I can kind of get it. Sadly, Colby could see. He actually was pouring it a lot early. Then he stopped pouring at it, and he started to be able to fight through it. But the doctor didn't like what they saw, so sucks. The fight itself was great, man. Like, it was a fucking great show from Buckley. Colby was fun. I enjoyed having Colby there during it. He gave Buckley a better challenge than I probably predicted he would. Still, I was kind of surprised at just how good Buckley was at controlling and pressuring Colby and keeping him in his world. It wasn't until that third round that Colby actually started to really make use of his pace and pressure. Before that, it was Buckley that was kind of controlling pretty much everything, where everything was going, when it was going there, and who was going to be the one leading it there, being him. I thought it was going to be over a couple times, not to say that, like, Colby was basically done, but I was like, oh, Joaquin's just adding up over the last 30 seconds. Buckley's just been piecing, and I'm thinking, oh, one of these is going to really hurt Colby in a second, and then it just doesn't, and Colby manages to power through it and survive the rounds. So I have to give Colby respect for that one, which is why I'm saying that he looks like such a more improved version compared to the one that fought Leon Edwards. It's not the same Colby. I don't think it is. Clearly the foot injury actually did make a bit of a substantial difference, because while he still didn't win, and he still maybe didn't look like a guy that could beat Leon Edwards tonight, he probably would have done a lot better, and it probably wouldn't have been as boring. Maybe he would have won a round or two. Don't know, but here's what it is. Dude, I'm loving the Joaquin Buckley title run, okay? I think this guy deserves a lot, okay? But I don't think it's a title shot. I don't know why people are saying it's a title shot. Because we have 2 guys in line. We have Shafkat in line, and then we have JDM, arguably the most deserving of a number 1 contender fight. Like, there's pretty much no one else in the division that you can say deserves a title shot or number 1 contender fight than JDM, other than Shafkat. And Shafkat's getting it, so JDM's next. After JDM, I'd say Buckley is the next most deserving person. I'd love to see Buckley versus JDM. That'd be a awesome fight. I don't know if they will book that. I feel like Jack Della Maddalena might get a title shot in his next fight, especially because of the broken arm and stuff. I don't know if they might run the Shavkat Bilal fight with the idea that they're gonna give Maddalena the next title shot. So they might do that. If they don't, I would like to see Buckley versus Maddalena. It's a pretty cool fight. However, Buckley versus Ottman is the fight to make. It's the one that we're calling for. It's the one that Buckley's calling for. It's the one that both Buckley and Ottman have been saying online that that's supposedly something that they're looking at and it's what's going to be next. So, run it. I'm keen. Buckley, continue on this streak, please. Don't let it die to Ottman or Ian Gary or something dumb like that. At least let it be like you lose to the champion or something, or a good contender. If you fight like a Shavkat or a JDM or something, then that's a good way to lose. But if you lose to an old Ottman or an Ian Gary or something like that, that's going to be a little bit more disappointing. So hopefully we see Buckley continue this phenomenal streak he's on. I'm keen to see it continue at the pace it's continued at as well, because he's been super active. So I also don't think he's going to sit out and wait for a title shot, because why would he? Because he'll be waiting for Shavkat and Bilal and then JDM and the winner of that, which is going to be like a year away. And he's been fighting like 4 times a year. So Buckley might fight Ottman and someone else before he gets a title shot. I don't know, but we will see. We will see. Okay, in the co-main event, we have Cub Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo. Cub Swanson cannot help himself but just get into wars. Ridiculously bloody wars. He does it not every time, you know what I mean? But he's had like several occasions where the fight is like, how is he capable of pulling this much of a back and forth war out of his back pocket? He's 40. He's now 41, but he's been 40 in some of these big fights, 39, 38. And he's been on several fight losing streaks, he's been knocked out multiple times, and he still comes and throws. And tonight was a great example of that. It was stupidly back and forth, like almost the entire fight. The striking numbers were actually very close in the end, but it wasn't a decision, so that doesn't really matter. But I arguably was still scoring. First round went to Cub. Second round I thought was very close. Could have gone to Billy, but probably was Cub. But I was willing to assume it was Billy, so that we were going into the third round 1-1. The KO came out of fucking nowhere. Out of fucking nowhere. Cub Swanson was getting the better of pretty much all the exchanges and dealing the most damage, even though, like I said, the striking numbers were quite close. He was pretty much always having the better moments in my eyes. I could be totally wrong in that, but that's what it seemed like to me when I was watching it. And then the KO just came out of fucking nowhere. I didn't really know what happened in the KO because I didn't actually see it happen. It just, Billy dropped dead out of nowhere. Like, they were scrapping. It was a fun up fight. I was watching the whole time being like, yeah, talking to chat about it. We were saying how ridiculous it is that that he's still able to fight this well, Cub Swanson, at 41 years of age. And then Billy Quarantillo turned into a fucking bag of potatoes and just fell flat on the mat, completely out. Like, not even like a, oh no. It was one of the ones where even though you're still awake, you hit the head bounces on the canvas and arms are over his head like this. And he's like, like that's, you are done skis. My chair's creaking like a motherfucker. You are done skis. It doesn't get much more done than that without you being unconscious. If you're still conscious, that's about as knocked out as you can get while being conscious. Fucking oath that he's still capable of this at 41. It was literally like pristine too, from memory. I hope I'm not misremembering which fight this happened in. I believe it was this fight where the ending sequence was Cub landing a left hook, right? And the left hook clips, or it would be this way. The left hook clips and then tilts Billy's head that way, okay? And then as Billy's head's tilted that way, the right hook, or the right straight actually, comes straight across and bop, right on the chin. So Billy's head gets bopped one way, and then Cub catches the momentum of Billy's head still moving and pushes it back the other way, only hitting the lower jaw. Perfect. I didn't realize how good it was at first. Fucking perfect. Literally set up his own momentum to be able to throw the knockout blow against the motion, against the direction of movement that Billy was going in, because the hook started pushing him in one direction, and then the fucking straight hand catches him going in the other direction and doesn't even hit upstairs. It's not like the whole thing. It only hits the jaw. So Billy's head's continuing to move in that direction, and the jaw just gets pulled out from underneath his face. And then that's literally Science 101, how to knock somebody out, is literally get their jaw moving in the opposite direction of where the motion of their body's going. That's how you fucking... And the guy just instantly asleep. Cub's so old, He's still doing it. He said he might retire because his wife wants him to. I think now would be a good time to retire because I don't know if you're going to get another opportunity to get a KO win like that and then walk out afterwards. Especially coming off of like not being knocked out previously in your last couple of fights. Because Cub's been knocked out a lot, but as of recent, it's not been. It's been like decisions and stuff like that. Wars as well, but decisions still. And now he gets a crazy knockout. Now's the time to go, in my opinion. He said he might not, so if he doesn't, fuck it. Most entertaining 41-year-old I've ever watched, so let's fucking do it. I'm here. I will watch. I will be waiting, and I will be excited if I hear about more Cub-Swanson fights. But story-wise, now would be a great time for him to go. He will be remembered as a warrior that literally had, early in his career, wars, Hall of Fame fights. Duho Choi, for example. Late in his career, wars, performance of the night, fight of the night style fights, dude. Like, if you can keep that up for whatever it's been, like 15 years or something like that, just leave on top, man. Leave on top. But if we see Cub again, cool. We'll have to wait and see. Billy Quarantillo, I don't know. I don't care. I don't really care who he fights next. It is what it is. Rough for him. He was doing okay in the fight. He was keeping up with Cub. Like I said, it was probably 1-1 going into the third. Possibly. Might have been 2-0, but possibly 1-1 going into the third. So he had the chance to win it, and he did come out kind of scrappy in that third round from memory, but wasn't enough. When Cub swings a big fucking straight right hand on your chin, you go to sleep apparently. So congratulations to Swanson, dude. He's old. He just got that to 30 wins officially in his career instead of being stuck at 29. So hell yeah, we'll see what happens next. Manel Kape is fucking back. He is so fucking back, okay? We just saw a flash from the past, okay? Went back 2 years and saw the fucking O'Day Osborne Manel Kape, okay? That's the Manel Kape we got tonight. And god damn, sorry, I'm yelling. I was just spent the entire fight just on the edge of my seat, like, oh shit, oh my god. And there was a lot of fouls in the fight too, but this is one of the most entertaining showboating performances I've ever seen. I've never watched a fight with showboating in it anywhere near as entertaining as this, okay? We'll get to that in a second. Kape's striking, first of all, was great, very beautiful, stuff that we were kind of hoping we'd see against Makayev. We didn't, but he's back and he's doing it. That's all I care about. Don't give a fuck, just don't fucking stink up the gaff again, Manel, okay? And he nearly did, not because of his own fault, but because he was getting kicked in the dick so often. Look, he was teeing off on Bruno Silva like the whole fight. The entire time, and it was kind of started off a little bit, not slow, but started off just like being calculated, being, okay, cool, I'm winning this, I'm winning these exchanges, and then it very quickly became very arrogant, and it became very showboaty, and it became a game for Manel Kape. He felt like he was at home, and he plugged in the controller and said, fuck it, we're going for trick shots today, and that's what he did. He was styling on, what's his name? He was styling on Bruno Silva for a long time, and Bruno Silva was returning fire, having good moments, hitting Kape, clipping him with stuff, but inevitably, he's just getting outworked by Kape, and Kape's just constantly making him miss. Just head movement, constantly. Dipping out of, literally, I want to say, dozens of combinations from, oh mate, I'm forgetting his name again. Bruno Silva. Dozens of combinations from Bruno Silva. Literally swinging at fresh air. Because Kape's like, not even like, you hit me with the jab and then I get out of the way of the second shot. Or I get out of the way of the jab and then you miss the second shot, but then the other jab comes back and gets me. It's like a 4-piece combo, 3-piece combo that Bruno's throwing at Kape constantly. And Kape goes, what? Like he's out of the way of all of it. It's not even a little bit. It's all of it. Now, let's talk about the fouls. Kape got kicked in the dick 3 times, okay? I don't think they stopped it all 3 times. I think they only stopped it twice. He got kicked in the dick 3 times. 3rd time, they just didn't stop it. And it almost led to a Bruno Silva finish. He almost started a finishing sequence based on that dick kick. Oh no, it was the eye poke, I think. It was one of them. It was either the eye poke or the dick kick that Bruno Silva pounced on Manel Kape after it happened. Clearly, he saw the opportunity for a finish. And granted, he was pretty correct. Like, that was the chance for Bruno Silva to get a finish. That's when he had Kape the most hurt, and the ref wasn't stepping in, even though it was a foul. So, yeah, that was the moment to fucking pounce. And he did, but it still wasn't enough. Kape manages to recover, come back, and arguably got kicked when he got kicked in the dick for the second time, which was the one that actually really hurt him, and he was like down on the mat for like 2 minutes. Granted, this actually may be because he retained energy, and maybe he even purposely extended the foul period that he was given and just kind of dragged it out a bit so he could get more time to recover. Maybe. Because when he came back from the dick kick, he literally turned into Neo. He's just throwing shit. I wish I could remember what it was, what combinations they were. He just decided, fuck it. It's like 4-piece kick combo, like combos with kicks and punches. Like he went crazy once he came back. And then even the commentary was like, oh, whoa, I guess he's alright. What the fuck? Because he's just more active than he's been at any point in the fight previously. He's literally the most active Kape ever got was right after he came back from being fouled. So I feel like he probably did regain a little bit of energy during that period. But arguably, Kape, I thought at first that it was literally a dick kick finish from Kape. I was like, wow, he got kicked in the dick 3 times and manages to survive it, and he kicks that guy in the dick once and then finishes him based on that. That's mental, but didn't happen because, well, it did happen, but not quite so cut and dry, because Kape did technically hit him low when with that kick that got Bruno Silva to react and grab his cup, but it wasn't clean at all. It was less clean than all of Bruno Silva's dick kicks. Let me just say that. Like, all 3 of Bruno Silva's dick kicks were much more clean than the one that Kape landed, which literally just grazed and just like tipped the cup, which probably does hurt, and that is sucky, but you kicked dude in the dick 3 times, and one of them was your toes dug underneath Manel Kape's cup. So you probably literally like toe to ball sack contact, and that is gonna fucking hurt if it's the full force of a fucking teep kick. So I'm not glad, but like when I was watching it, I was like, if he did just totally kick dude in the dick then that's actually so deserved, because he got kicked in the dick multiple times during this fight. But yeah, the replay showed it was barely. So the finishing sequence itself kind of came from that, but it wasn't really that much of a low blow. So it was mainly the combinations afterwards that Kape landed on Silva that really put him out. But you could definitely argue that kick was what started the exchange, because that's what got Silva to start backing up all of a sudden and then like react weirdly and grab his cup in a way. It's kind of his fault. He literally almost did the same thing to Manel Kape earlier in the fight with the eye poke that he almost finished him off. So you can't really complain, and he didn't, so I'm not mad about it at all. No one even mentioned it, so I guess I might even be over-exaggerating what like the kick was. Maybe it wasn't even really close, and it was more just that Bruno Silva felt his dick move and was just like, oh, did I get hit low? Maybe I did, but with that being said, oh yeah, so let's talk about some of the taunting, bro. It was absurd. Obviously, we've got some classic Manel Kape taunts, you know, just like the standing in front of you, and then like and like arms down by his waist type shit, as well as like the dribble between the legs kind of, you can't see my legs, but the dribbling the ball between the legs kind of thing that he does, like to I don't know, just fucking tease you. But there was one moment in particular, okay, I can't remember all of them, there was several moments that he was doing funny shit, showboating. But there's one moment in particular, okay? I'm going to use Alex Pereira as a fucking dummy here. There's one moment in particular that Kape is in front of Bruno Silva, and he clips him with something, and it makes Bruno kind of like wobble a little bit on his feet. After clipping Bruno Silva and seeing that he was hurt, he literally gets this distance to Bruno Silva, we're talking less than a meter, and goes all the way down. And he's like doing this in front of fucking Bruno Silva, this far away from his face, not even like exaggerating. The balls of steel. You have to love showboating so fucking much to get down, to squat down like that in front of dude and just go like literally within punching distance of him. He can reach you with a strike, but you're like, I reckon he's too hurt to throw back. Let me get in your face, see what you fucking do. Now, Bruno Silva did return fire, okay? He threw, I don't remember what he threw, but he just like, when Kape was right in front of him, he's like, oh, you're right there, okay. And then throws like, wah, wah. But they're kind of winging. Bruno Silva's still a bit hurt. And then Kape just backs up. He just puts his head back, backs up, and doesn't get clipped with any of it, I don't think. And if he did, it barely touched him. Now, as for the next fight, Kape called for a title shot. I can see why you would do that, and I can see why there's not really any other fights that you really give a shit about in the division. Like there's not really any huge names that he can really call for that aren't below him or on losing streaks or that he's already fought or whatever. Call for Pantoja. He could call for like a Moreno or something like that maybe, but clearly he wants a title shot. But there is one fight to make. Because first of all, Royval's probably going to get the title shot next, unfortunately. There is one fight to make. You just got a KO after losing your last fight. Arguably in a robbery, but still after losing your last fight. Kaikar France just got a KO after losing his last fight. Arguably by a robbery, but still losing his last fight. Both men meant to fight each other before, didn't. Lot of beef. Both dudes now coming off of KOs, and both guys ranked in the top 10. Do it. Right now. Kaikar France, Manel Kape, #1 contender fight. Winner fights for the belt. Book that shit now. I would have loved for it to be in Australia, but I don't really care if it's in Australia, but like that would have been the time to book it, but it's like 2 months away. Kape just fought. I don't know what Kai's doing. Probably not. But sometime soon, early next year, April, May, maybe, book that shit. Okay, going to try and speed up a little bit as we keep going down the card, but we've got the next one. I do want to talk a lot about this one. Vitor Petrino versus Dustin Jacoby, dude. So I've written here, somewhat of a fraud check, but not so clearly. Now let me divulge into that. Vitor Petrino was arguably winning the entire fight, okay? Jacoby was doing okay, and he had a game plan, and he was following it. But in my eyes, Petrino was doing much, much better. Let me look at what the striking numbers were here. It was pretty even, actually. It was 40-47 in favor of Jacoby. But and 2 of those would have been the finishing shots. So it's very even. And that's across 3 rounds. That's not just like 1 round fight. 40-45-ish over the span of 3 rounds. Pretty even. But I had Petrino winning it based on his power and his damage, and the fact that Jacoby was doing a lot of low kicks. He was landing upstairs too, don't get me wrong, but I was seeing much more effect and actual reason to believe that there was damage coming from the strikes of Petrino. So that was who I was giving the rounds to. I believe I gave the first 2 rounds both to Petrino. And Jacoby needed a finish, and he got the fucking finish, bro. So Jacoby said that he had a slow, calculated game plan, and he really wanted to just like bring that moment out of Vitor Petrino. And I was watching it throughout this and being like, this is a waste of time, man. Like, the commentary was talking about it as well. I'm like, at this point, we're in the 3rd round, we're getting close to the end of the fight, dude. You probably got to stop your slow, calculated, trying to find the perfect shot shit. Like, just wing, man. Just wing. You got to get this guy out of here because he's up 2-0 over you. And then no. I was proven. It was proven why I'm not an MMA fighter, because I don't have the fight IQ that some of these guys have. Clearly, because Jacoby stuck to that game plan. And eventually it paid off. And that's what he said in the post-fight interview. He said, like, my plan was to be slow, calculated, and find that moment. It took me 2 full fucking rounds to get there, but I did get there. So I'm happy. And can't blame him. Can't be mad either, because the plan literally worked. He set up a plan for Petrino, and it worked. Now, let's talk about Vitor Petrino. Arguably, this is possibly where Petrino's career is on the line. His next fight. If he doesn't win his next fight, he's on a 3-fight losing streak and he will get cut from the UFC. Vitor Petrino came into the UFC. Oh, by the way, people are comparing this to the Masvidal versus Ottman KO, which is hilarious. It does look identical in the way that it's like the straight right hand where the dude like flops over to the side, like over the other guy's back, the same way that Masvidal did, and then they kind of just like fall over backwards like that. Pretty much the exact same. It looks very identical, so I can see the comparisons for sure. But Petrino, he went from being in the UFC, 11-0, on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC, to losing 2 fights back-to-back, both by finish, both by unks of your division, who both got knocked out in their last fights. Like, this sport changes fast, man. This sport changes real fast. To go from 11-0, 4-fight win streak, 5 if you include Contender Series, to 0-2 skid, both by finish, over jobbers who both have a collective like 30 losses or something. It does suck. It does suck for Vitor Petrino. And that's why I'm saying this next fight's going to have pretty much his entire career on the line. Because if he doesn't win it, and especially if he gets finished, he's gone, man. He's gone. The fans are going to be the worst of it. The fans are going to be really hard. I can assure you that even though Vitor was winning the whole fight, basically, and he only got KO'd by a single shot, not even like he got caught and then like Jacoby started to build on him and then started to just eventually do better than him over a 60-second period. Nah, man. Petrino was arguably winning that third round, and then he just got clipped with just one shot out of nowhere. But the fans won't care. 100%, the fans are going to call him a bum. They're going to say that this was a fraud check by the jobbers of the division, which is also, I am saying that, granted, but I am also saying to take it with a pinch of salt, because there is more to be said to the story. It's not just you got finished by two guys. It's you got finished by two guys. One of them was pretty good and he's a bit of a prolific submission artist. And the other guy, you got knocked out by in one shot, which is unfortunate, but you were beating him for the entire fight. Realistically, Vitor Petrino's not gotten any worse. He's not suddenly shit, but the fan base will think that, and that is sad for him. I don't know what they're going to do for him next. Like I'm saying about fans remembering this, dude, you're only as good as your last performance in the eyes of MMA fans. And this last performance is going to last a while. The people are going to remember this. They're going to remember you for this KO until you come back. So either A, come back fast, or B, don't come back. because if you come back in like 6 months, everyone's going to be like, isn't this the dude that got knocked out by Jacoby and submitted by Anthony Smith? Ha, lol. That's going to be the story of your career, Petrino, if you don't come back quick and knock someone the fuck out. Especially with the Ottman versus Masvidal KO comparisons that I've already seen on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. People are going to be talking about this fight. As for Jacoby, don't know what to say. Cool, good for him, man. Fucking good for him. Like I said, his game plan worked out and he got the finish that he was after. But you did just lose to Dominic Reyes in your last fight. I'm pretty sure before that you also lost another fight. Let's see. He lost to Alonzo Menefield before he lost to that. He beat Kennedy Nzechukwu, but before that lost to Mozarkanov, and then he had the Khalil Roundtree fight, which is a loss, but technically, arguably he won. A lot of people think that one was a robbery. Kind of rough. He's been on a very bad streak. Even if you give him the Khalil Roundtree as a decision win, sure. He's still 1, 2, 3. He's still 2-3 in his last 5. 2 wins, 3 losses. And one of those losses was by knockout. And his last loss was by knockout. And it's the first time he's ever been knocked out in MMA. So coming off that loss and you still can't beat him, Petrino, so rough, man. Yeah, I don't know what's next for Jacoby. He's old, isn't he? He's like 37 or something, 38 maybe. 36, okay. He's not too bad, but still not great. I don't know who you're going to fight next year. Someone. Just some guy at fucking light heavyweight. I don't really care. Moving on. Yanez versus Marcos. Adrian Yanez versus Daniel Marcos. This was a really fucking fun fight. There was a lot of, well, not a lot of, it was entirely striking based, essentially. This was like a chess match. Not because it was slow, because it was not slow at all, but it was the small victories that were making this fight matter. Because there was plenty of really clean shots landed by Adrian Yanez. Sure. But the amount more that Daniel Marcos had landed that were just as clean, if not cleaner, on Adrian Yanez is ridiculous. Like, it was so high pace for the entire fight. They were the engagements fast as fuck, combinations long as fuck, head movement constant. Literally, I'm telling you, they were like flyweights in there. Okay, Daniel Marcos though. Look, I started this fight rooting for Adrian Yanez. I ended this fight. Within like the first round of this fight, I was like, who is this? I know I've heard of Daniel Marcos before, and I knew he was an undefeated guy and stuff, but I don't think I'd watched him, or I'd only seen him on like a prelim somewhere where I maybe didn't pay much attention. This caught my fucking attention. So we were talking about putting fucking Peyton Talbot versus Adrian Yanez. I reckon you do fucking Peyton Talbot versus Daniel Marcos. Granted, it's 2 undefeated guys. It's not really something the fans love when they see undefeated guys take each other's O's when they're unranked. If like there could at least be two ranked undefeated guys. If it's going to be both being undefeated, you kind of want that. Otherwise, yeah. But I like the fight. I like the idea of it. It should be very fun. It would be a lot of striking. So I'd certainly enjoy it. If you like Peyton Talbot and you like Daniel Marcos, I feel like you're going to like Peyton Talbot versus Daniel Marcos. So Yanez was doing good. That's the thing. Yanez was doing good at moments, which is what I was saying, that Yanez landed plenty of like great strikes. It's just that it was so just, it's far from being enough. Daniel Marcos was making him, much like I said about one of the earlier fights, I forget who it was, Daniel Marcos was just making him swing at fresh air, bro. Yanez is like throwing, who did I say this about before? I said this about Manel, Kape and Bruno Silva. Yeah, Adrian Yanez is just making, Daniel Marcos is just making Adrian Yanez swing at fresh air, man. Like, combinations as well, same as I said before, literally just like throwing 2-3 pieces and they're just all missing. Not to say that was the constant story, but to be able to roll with punches while engaging too. It's not like all defensive. Daniel Marcos is on the offensive and then just still managing to just dip out of the way of 2 shots, 3 shots of Adrian Yanez. It's very impressive. Hard to do. Literally some of my favorite parts of the fight were defensive moments. It's a bit weird to say, but that's how I felt. Like, the biggest moments where I was like, whoa, was when Yanez throws like a 4-piece and only like the last one clips him on the nose, like, as he's backing away. And I'm like, how the fuck is this dude Neo? Like I said about fucking Manel Kape. Neo in the octagon, man. I think that Daniel Marcos is a very interesting contender. I like him. I didn't really know much about him at all, but I like him. I'm very, very interested now. Now, let's talk about the scoring of that fight. I had it 30-27. I could see 29-28. I can see it, but I scored it 30-27, Daniel Marcos. Tell me how one judge gave it 29-28 Yanez. All 3 judges were in disagreement, by the way. One judge said 3-0 Marcos. One judge said 2-1 Marcos. The other judge said 1-2. Well, so 2-1 in favor of Yanez. How do you have such a wide spread? It was kind of close because it was very back and forth, but it was very clearly Daniel Marcos that won that fight. 2 of those rounds were very clearly him as well. So I don't know where the fuck you've got 2 Adrian Yanez rounds, but these judges are just retarded. Right, next, I'm going to really try and speed up because this is taking a long time. Navajo Stirling versus Tuco Tokkos, I think his name is. Tuco Tokkos, whatever it is. Honestly, this fight was kind of slow at times, but I liked what I saw from Navajo, for sure. He's only 5-0. He's got a lot of kickboxing experience, so he's not brand new to martial arts, but he is very new to MMA. And he fought in Glory, I want to say. So he's got somewhat popular promotion experience, but he's not got UFC level experience. And he's especially not got fully packed final card of the year Tampa stadium type of experience. So he also claimed before this fight that he wanted more octagon time tonight. He said, like, I actually wouldn't mind getting to feel out spending some time in the octagon tonight, getting like a couple of rounds of experience, because I believe from memory his fights are very, very quick. Okay, well, I'm looking at Tapology and it says he's only had 2 kickboxing, or a kickboxing fight and a Muay Thai fight, whatever. First fight in MMA, decision. Second fight, round 1 finish. Third fight, round 1 finish. Fourth fight, round 3 finish. And then he comes onto the Contender Series and gets the round 2 finish, which was very nice. He was fighting bums regionally, but Philip Latu on the Contender Series was his first test against a pretty talented guy, and he passed. And Tokkos, while not the most talented guy, is UFC level to an extent, and Navajo lasted 15 minutes with him, and well. So I got to give him credit for that. I think, especially because he's on a main card right now as well, he controlled the space very well. That's what he would do. He was very slow and calculated. He kind of played a Dustin Jacoby kind of game, similar in this fight. He was keeping Tokkos backing up a lot, and the calculation was pretty much the entire game plan. Patience and calculation, and he showed the ability in that, which I did like, and he showed power at times as well, which I also enjoyed, getting to see him being capable of. Now, obviously, we've already kind of really seen power because he's got knockouts, but power consistently, power over 3 rounds is what I like to see. Now, he did slow down as the fight went on, but this is light heavyweight. We are going to slow down as the fights go on. So, not bad at all, and especially for a first UFC performance, being 5-0. Not bad at all, man. Not bad at all. Hopefully next time he gets to show off some more action and a bit more of his... Like, we've seen the cardio and the fight IQ side of him tested today. That's kind of what maybe we hadn't seen much of, at least not with any level of competition, because he's only got 1 decision, which was a 0-0 fighter. Now we've seen him go to a decision with a UFC level fighter, and how he lasted throughout 3 rounds, how he fought, how he got worse, what got worse, what got better. Cool. Now we can see. Hopefully next time he gets to show a bit more action, and now that we've tested those areas, let's test the knockout ability. Alright, how's that sound? Speaking of knockout ability, Michael fucking Johnson. Pretty open and shut here. Michael Johnson's inhuman. He was made in a lab, and they gave him concrete fists. This guy at this point is just pulling knockouts out of fucking thin air. It's not even real. Like, he was having it was a fun fight, don't get me wrong, as I was enjoying it. But it's not even like Michael Johnson wins engagements and slowly builds on you and gets you hurt and then knocks you out. He will either go to sleep immediately when you touch his chin with a feather, or you are getting fucking Pereira'd and going out cold from one shot. And that's what he did tonight. Sick. He's just back. I mean, I say he's just back, like as if this means he's back. He's always done this, but let's see him get another KO and then go on. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He's gonna lose 2 in a row now or something, get knocked out twice. But he's old too. Michael Johnson's old as fuck. How old is Michael Johnson? Ready? We're gonna find out right now. I'm gonna guess that Michael Johnson is 38 years of age, and the winning number is 38. I'm a G. I'm that guy. I'm that guy, pal. But yeah, I don't know how you can be this good at that age. Puts Azaitar away in... Oh, it was the second round, sorry. I think I said round 1 before. It was the second round. Just a beautiful straight shot directly on the jaw. There was multiple knockouts tonight. They were all jaw shots. Like, they were all perfect place on the jaw. Guy goes out. Azaitar was done for. It wasn't even, like, close. It was asleep. And Johnson followed up with like 2 hammer fists and he was completely limp. It was done for. I don't know how this guy can continue to do this. It's that was perfect precision. Just like the other ones that I mentioned where it was so perfectly done. Who was it that I said that? Cub Swanson's KO? Right where it needs to be, man. Planted that shot perfect. Yeah, I'm convinced this is what Terrence McKinney's going to look like in 10 years. Speaking of Terrence McKinney as well, make that fight. That's what I think you should do. You make Michael Johnson versus Terrence McKinney. Someone's getting knocked out in fucking 90 seconds. Promise you that. Make that fight next. Good shit from Michael Johnson, man. I don't know how he's still doing it at this age. And still managing to be capable of... granted, your chin can be fucked. That doesn't mean you can't knock someone out. So I guess that's the kind of boat it seems like Michael Johnson's in. It's like you can knock him out with the touch of a feather. But be careful, because he's not lost his knockout ability over the last 5 years or 10 years at all. He's still capable of it. Good shit for Michael Johnson. Below that, we had Joel Alvarez versus Drakkar Klose. Joel motherfucking Alvarez, bro. I'm all in on this one. I'm all in. Not that I wasn't in on the Joel Alvarez type train before, but I was a bit like, oh, this one's weird. He's a 6'3" fucking lightweight. Here we fucking go. But man, this guy's got brutal knees. He makes great use of his range and his power. He fucked Drakkar Klose up, bro. So it's just he hits Drakkar with something. He clips him, and as soon as that happens, he is aware of the moment that he's built himself. He is aware what he's being presented with, and he just fucking delivers. Like, as soon as that happens and he clips Drakkar stumbles backwards, hits the cage, and then dips his head for some reason. And I think Joel might have hit him once or twice more. Maybe not though. And Joel grabs his neck, goes for a guillotine, and starts to like crank on it basically. And while he's in the guillotine, he's going, bop, 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 bop. It's essentially ground and pound. Because it's a standing guillotine, right? This isn't his top of his head here. This is his body. His body's that way. His head's going out the back of my arm. This is his head here. And he's got him in that, and he's just opening up this little gap here to kind of just power fucking hooks into the side of Drakkar Klose's head. And Drakkar's just unconscious. He's just unconscious. He's in a standing guillotine, sitting there, unconscious, just getting pounded in the side of the head over and over. And that's why I'm saying it's basically ground and pound. Because he's holding him in that guillotine, but he's not like hitting him in the body. He's not like kneeing him or something like that. He's literally like hammer fisting the side of his head or like punching the side of his head. It's ground and pound style attack, but we're standing. So standing ground and pound. I like it. But man, this guy is just brutal, and he's doing it all the time now. I wasn't, like I'm saying, not that I wasn't sold on it, but I just didn't really see anything that super intrigued me yet. To an extent, I was like, okay, this guy looks dangerous. Then I heard about the finish rate, and I was like, maybe I'm wrong about this. And since then, this is the first fight of his that's come up since I thought about that. Yeah, I'm in. My bad for taking so long to get on board. Okay, my bad. Next fight for him. Give me Jalen Turner versus Joel Alvarez. It is time for a ranked fight. He deserves it. Jalen Turner is ranked number 14. He's on a loss streak, I believe. I can't bother to Google it. I believe he's on a loss streak. It's at least one. The last fight he had was the Moicano fight, no? Yeah, UFC 300. He hasn't fought since then. I reckon that's the fight. And if not, because they're both 6'3" as well, and you can get rid of one of the 6'3" monsters out of the division. If not, probably Benoit. Benoit versus Joao Alvarez. That will be violence. Okay, now we're going to get real fast, guys. Okay, there's the last few fights. Woodson versus Padilla. Honestly, I'm just sick of seeing this guy. He won a robbery decision last time against Alex Caceres. From memory, I'm pretty sure I thought he won that. I thought Caceres won that fight. He gets a KO this time, to be fair. Got to give it to you there. It's taken you years to get a KO again after not getting one for a fucking long time. Just a bunch of decisions and jab fests at distance, fighting guys 6 inches shorter than you. But look, he got a really nice combination on Padilla. He was clipping him. Like, he hit him with something that hurt Padilla. And then Padilla starts backing up. And he can't back up fast enough to the point where Woodson's just walking forward, like still throwing punches, and he's just keeping up with the backpedaling of Padilla. So he just continues to... The combination continued as Padilla backed up, and then he clipped him with one big one that dropped him right down. And then he ground and pounded a couple extra shots, and then that was the end of the fight. It was kind of... I'm not going to say early, but like, you could have let him ground and pound the guy. Like, he literally only just hit the mat. Granted, he was hurt, sure. How often do we see guys really hurt hit the mat, and then once the guy engages him on the floor, oh, look at that, all of a sudden I've got some defensive ability on the ground because I'm hurt. I came to the ground to be defensive, not to give up. Okay, if I was going to give up, I'd be tapping on the fucking canvas right now. I'm not tapping. I'm sitting here getting ready to defend for my back. It's the ref's job to decide when that's not good enough. I don't think that really was a good example. Tis what tis though. Look, can we just see this guy get a real fucking test so he gets knocked out or submitted already? It's disgraceful that you can be this fucking out of shape, this fucking lanky, and fight at 145 just because you're ridiculously tall and you can make the weight cut. It shouldn't be allowed. I don't know what kind of rule sets we can even fucking put in place to stop this, but 6'2" at 145 is a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. 6'3" lightweights is like, you're pushing it. 6'2" featherweight, bro? What the fuck are we smoking? Are we about to see a 6 foot fucking bantamweight next? O'Malley is like everyone calls O'Malley a weight bully or like a height bully for 135. He's listed at 5'11", but he's 5'10", maybe even less than 5'10", but O'Malley's 5'10" at best. Okay, we're talking about that's a ridiculous height advantage. Go up one weight class and there's a dude that's 6'2". What the fuck are we talking about? Like, he's half a foot taller than his fucking opponents. He's not UFC ranked fighter level. Can we just give him someone that's gonna fuck him up? Instead of letting him just shit on all these fucking contenders because he's 6 inches taller than them. Just go away. That's all I have to say about Sean Woodson. Just fucking go away. As for the last couple of fights, so I'm just going to really quickly go over these because these were ones I watched before the stream / skipped through or skimmed through and watched them. Miles Johns versus Felipe Lima was quite fun, okay? There was a lot of back and forth striking exchanges from both guys. Miles started to get really aggressive at the end and just fucking wing punches because he knew he was losing. But Felipe Lima walked away with that W. I like it. I like what I saw Felipe Lima. I heard apparently he's a grappler. And he was entirely striking today, and it was very kickboxing style striking. Like, he looked really clean. Slickness, pop, you know. Doesn't look like the wrestler that learned how to, or the BJJ guy that learned how to strike. You know, he looks like a striker. And he's tall, he's got the body of a striker. He's like tall and lanky for the division. It's very good. We'll see how he goes. Honestly, I'm excited to see his next fight. Just see how he goes at 135, hey? Because they fought at 145, right, today, but they are 135ers. I believe there was just moved up a weight class for this fight for some reason. Maybe it was because Miles Johns, Cody Garbrandt cancellation. I don't know when that was meant to happen or whatever, but yeah. Next, we had Miranda Maverick versus Horth, whatever her name is. Is it Jamie Horth? Jamey-Lyn Horth. Okay. The fight was slow at times, but there was fun scrambles at moments. Pretty cool moments of like some interesting scrambles and positions that they got into where they're just kind of changing top. So this guy's ending up on top, or this girl's ending up on top, and then they're switching, and there's a quick fucking, all of a sudden we're out of this takedown and now we're back on the feet and stuff. So it was slow at times, as I mentioned, but it was alright overall. I didn't hate it, but there's not really much to say about it. Below that, we had Davy Grant versus Ramon Tavares, and this one was actually pretty fun. I was very I was like still half asleep for these first 2 fights, so I apologize I don't remember them. I was watching them in bed. But Grant versus Tavares was fine. It was very high output. It was really, really high output. Let's actually look at the numbers for this one. It was 150 strikes to 70 for Davy Grant, in favor of Davy Grant. 290 he threw. That's in a 3-round fight. That is a lot. That's a lot. And they were all significant strikes, by the way. Like, every single shot that he landed counted as a significant strike. So, Davy Grant looked good. It was fun. I also liked what I saw from Ramon Tavares. I don't know if he's been in the UFC already or if he's new, but yeah, he beat Sergey Side back at UFC 297. So we'll see how he goes. He was fun though. I liked what I saw from Ramon Tavares. He's like a fun striker, similar to what Davy Grant was doing. They kind of had not the same style, but styles that complemented each other. So that made this fight very fun. I enjoyed it. And then the last fight. Again, sorry, this is the first thing I watched when I woke up, so I don't really remember it. But Knudsen versus Rodriguez. Rodriguez grappled her way pretty much to what, at the time, when I watched, seemed like a pretty clear decision that she just got based on that grappling. Might have been more that led to that being a clear decision, but from what I saw a lot of time of her being on top of old mate. I can't remember her name. Knudsen, whatever the fuck her name is, Knudsen, yeah, was 8 out of 10. Piera Rodriguez landed 8 out of 10 takedowns, so she was also ahead on strikes. So yeah, just a good performance from her. Again, I'm sorry, I can't describe it well, but I did watch that fight, and I remember I was just in bed. So that's the end of UFC Tampa's breakdown. I hope you guys did enjoy this one. I did. It was a very fun card. It was honestly one of the more fun cards this year, and that was kind of a random shock. I had a feeling this card wouldn't be shit. It wasn't like obviously not an Apex level, but it wasn't like this is a crowded arena, but it's a terrible fight night kind of thing. This was one I'm like, oh, it's a crowded arena, fun fight night, should be good. But it over-delivered, for sure. For sure it over-delivered. Like, just to name a few, Miles Johns versus Felipe Lima, fun. Sean Woodson, sure, but it's a first-round KO. Joe Alvarez, first-round KO. Michael Johnson, brutal second-round KO. Then we go up and we get Navajo Stirling. Not a horrible fight, not great, but gets the W. Adrian Yanez versus Daniel Marcos. Fucking awesome. Essentially just watching a karate combat fight. Vitor Petrino versus Dustin Jacoby. Crazy KO. Dude goes to sleep. Jacoby gets the upset. Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. Entertaining. Start to finish. Absolute cinema. Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo. Also cinema. Literally like fucking give this thing a Grammy. Give it an award now. Let Swanson go on his merry way. Rich and fucking happy because he deserves it after a fight like that. And Colby versus Buckley. Unfortunate end to the fight, but the fight itself was very fun, and Buckley showed fucking dominance. Well, to the point where I think Buckley's going to be a real problem for the top 5 at welterweight. So I'm excited for 2025, boys and girls. We have UFC 311 is the first pay-per-view. Before that, we have a fight night of Dern versus Rebars. So if you want to watch that, come watch it with me because I'll be there, but I know a lot of people don't necessarily care about that. But I will be live streaming for both of those events, and I will be making breakdowns, predictions, whatever. 2025 is going to be the year that there's a lot more non-fight oriented content, if that makes sense. It's all UFC based, but it's not reactions, and it's not fight companions. I'll be doing both of those things still, okay? Do not get it twisted. But there'll be way more breakdowns. There'll be way more predictions. Stick around, guys. Good things to come in 2025 for the Mixed Martial Arts channel. Thank you guys who were in the stream with me. I don't remember the third guy's name, but Jake and Nathan, you guys were both there chatting with me in the stream today, so that was very fun. Good to have some banter and some back and forth with the guys and someone to discuss the current going-ons of the card with. So please join me next year to be a part of those live streams. I'd love to have you there. It's going to be awesome to continue to build a little community to fucking sit here and watch the UFC fights with. There is much more growth to be done. I've got so many ideas of where I'm going to take this. So please stick around. You will not regret it, and you will be surprised at just how, not to toot my own horn, but just how creative I feel like I am prepared to make this MMA YouTube space. I really got a lot of big plans for it. So stick around. I hope you guys enjoy. Enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your New Year's, celebrate, get drunk, have fun, and I'll see you guys all next year. Look out for the videos coming out during the Christmas break, as well as the live stream on the January 11th for the first event of the year. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, chuck in notifications, leave a comment, tell me what your favorite fight of the event was, as well as, like I said, chuck in notifications so that you don't miss uploads and live streams. You'll be notified of 30 minutes before live streams and when they start, so you will not miss out on the fight companions as well as other live streams that happen outside of UFC events. So do that. make sure you do not miss a single piece of content coming from the Mixed Martial Arts channel, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please have a great holidays, everybody. I am thankful for you all for making 2024 a great year for this channel, and hopefully 2025 holds just as much fun and as much growth. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys all in the next Mixed Martial Arts video. Goodbye.